Check it out. We're here at Little House in the Kootenays Farm to do a farm tour with Erica. Erica, thanks for inviting me here.
Yes, absolutely. I'm excited.
Before we head in, what are we going to see?
We are going to see mostly hardy tropicals. I like to grow in my greenhouse. I have the classic peppers, tomatoes, those things that like greenhouses, but I also like to try and grow unique tropicals that aren't native to Canada.
Great. And how long have you been doing this?
Greenhouse, about 3 years. Garden, 2 years.
Wow.
Let's get started. Here I have my hardy passion fruit, and then I have a Meyer lemon. As you can see, it started to set a little bit of fruit. This is a Shasta Gold Mandarin Orange. Hasn't set any fruit yet this year, but it's gotten out of new foliage. And then here I have a pink variegated lemon. So they're going to be bright pink inside. Tastes like a classic lemon, and then it has a variegated rind as well as the variegated foliage. And this is a bed full of peppers. And then I have inoculated half of my raised garden beds in the greenhouse with mushrooms. So we'll hopefully see a few mushrooms today. This one is shiitake mushrooms. This is a Cara navel orange. This is a tomato bed. This bed's pretty much spent with tomatoes, but they were Italian paste variety tomatoes that I use to make all my sauces and ketchups and paste. So this bed is full of peppers. I have a lot of different sweet bell peppers. And I also have my jalapenos in here. So this is a ponderosa lemon, and they will grow to be about that big. They're a cross between a pomelo and a lemon. So it's really hard to see. It's a bit of a jungle out in here. But I have a guava. It is a strawberry guava, also known as a Chilean guava. So it will have tiny little fruits the size of blueberries, and they kind of taste like cotton candy. And then behind it, this is a pineapple guava, also known as a feijoa, which is a very, very hardy guava. And it is native to China, but cultivated mainly in New Zealand. And they will grow in our zone. They are hardy to about a zone 6. So I grew that in my greenhouse last year unprotected, and it survived the winter. So I'm going to try, when it's a little more established, to grow outside in our zone, and hopefully it'll survive. So this bed I have full of chilies. I have a lot of unique ones. I don't know all of their names, but I've got the really, really spicy ones. I've got some Carolina Reapers, some ghost peppers, and this new variety. It's a little spicy, but they're a nice little snack size. So I'm going to pickle these, and I think they'd be a nice little gourmet treat on charcuterie boards. So this is my beefsteak tomato bed. It's a little crazy at the moment, but I've got some nice beefsteak tomato. Oh, yeah, you can't really see. I've got some nice tomatoes growing in here. So this is my fig bed. In here, I have about 9 different varieties of fig, and they've all wintered in our zone in the greenhouse, and they didn't die back to the ground. So I have the classic Chicago hardy fig. I also have some Negrones here. I'll let you zoom in so you can see them. So this is a Negrone fig. I also have a Peter's honey pot. I have a variegated Italian fig. This one's the Peter's honey. So this is a Peter's honey fig. These will ripen yellow. And then I have a Stella fig. I have a Dessert King, and a whole bunch of other varieties. This is my kiwi bed. So this is a kind of an experiment I'm trialing this year. They are full-sized fuzzy kiwis. They are hardy to a zone 6, so I'm hoping that they will winter this year. There is 1 male and 2 different kinds of female. So if it all pans out eventually, I will have the whole rafters of the greenhouse growing with kiwis.
Too many plants in the greenhouse.
That time of year. This is my cocktail grapefruit tree. As you can see, we've got a couple little grapefruits that have actually stayed on this year. This is my Tangelo orange, and it is going to flower soon. As you can see, there's a whole bunch of blossoms that are setting that will be opening. This is my yuzu lemon. I've already harvested a couple of fruit off of it, and as you can see, there is some more fruit sets. Yuzu lemons are actually very hardy. They are hardy to about a zone 7, and once this tree is an established tree, I could probably keep it wintering in this greenhouse unprotected, and it will survive in our zone. So this is my hardy olive. As you can see, it's got a little bit of fruit set this year. The first year that it flowered and fruited, so once it is a little bit more established, I'm gonna have it in a bigger pot, and hopefully it'll survive the winter in our zone. This is my Korean green tea tree. The leaves can be turned into tea just as green leaves, or you can ferment them into black tea. They also have these really pretty blossoms. You can see it's going to flower, and the blossoms themselves kind of have a little bit of a jasmine scent, and they make beautiful tea. Just behind me, you can see a bunch of more citrus. I have a little mandarin orange that's got a whole bunch more blossoms as well as fruit set. This one is a very prolific little orange tree. Behind it, I have a lemon and 2 different kinds of limes. So it's a little bit of a jungle in here. I have a Moro blood orange, and then down here, this is a loquat. It is a very hardy Chinese plum. It's hardy to about a zone 7, so I'm going to try planting it in actually this raised bed once I clean all the mint out, and it will live hopefully happily ever after in my greenhouse. And I have 2 so that they can cross-pollinate. Here I have a strawberry tree. This is hardy to about a zone 7. It's a really unique evergreen that has weird little red fruit that kind of tastes like a peach/mango. And apparently they make really good jams and jelly, so I'm excited for this tree to fruit. In this bed, I have a whole bunch of basil. I've let it go to seed. We've pretty much harvested all of it, but I like the pollinators just to kind of encourage them to come in and pollinate the tomatoes and everything else. So I have Thai basil and I have lemon basil. It smells amazing when you walk through and you just rub your hands.
This is a bacon avocado. It's the hardiest avocado.
So the bacon avocado is hardy to about -9 Celsius. And I have this one grafted variety. So my plan is to graft it on a whole bunch of seed stock that I grew. And it's self-pollinating. So I don't need multiple to cross-pollinate. I only need 1.
This is a purple blossom passion fruit.
This is my jungle of cherry tomatoes. I just let them go crazy, and we've been harvesting a couple gallons every few days off of the tomatoes. The varieties are Sun Gold and Jasper. They're 2 of my favorite cherry tomatoes. Down here, I have a few herbs that need to get planted out in the new garden section. This is what grasshoppers do. In this bed, I have a bunch of different varieties of pepper. I also have my root stock. Right here, I have my root stock. They are different avocados that I grew just from store-bought avocados that we ate. The plan is to take cuttings off of my bacon avocado and graft them onto these so that I have multiple avocados that are grafted that will be hardy to our zone and definitely produce fruit. So right here, I have my Thompson green grape. Pretty much the end of the season. We have been harvesting the clusters of grapes. There's only a few left. It's a nice little snack when we're going through the greenhouse. And my plan is to have it eventually grow up and then cover the whole beam. It is only its 2nd year, so it's a pretty young grapevine. Right here, I have a pomegranate tree. So I've had this tree for about 4 years. I bought it as a tiny little seedling at a nursery. It lived in the window of my living room, and now it's turned into a pretty decent sized shrub. It flowered and didn't set any fruit this year, so I think it needs to cross-pollinate. So I bought another variety of pomegranate, so then eventually they'll cross-pollinate and hopefully I'll get some pomegranate fruit. But this is a very hardy pomegranate, and it should be hardy to about a zone 7. So it did survive the winter in the greenhouse this last year because it is such an established tree. The plan is once the other pomegranate gets a little bit bigger, it will also live permanently in this greenhouse with minimal protection in our zone. So here is what I call the citrus house. We built a little double-lined greenhouse within the greenhouse so that my tropicals can survive the winter with a minimum heat loss. It's pretty tight and sealed, and because of the double lining, and then we also have cedar on the back with insulation, it doesn't really cost a whole lot to heat, and the majority of the winter we pretty much don't even have to have a heater in there. I do have one set at a certain temperature so that if it drops below, it will kick on just so that nothing freezes. But I keep all of my citrus and any other tropicals that I have that are not quite established enough to survive the winter in here. So come on in. So I have a bunch of new trees that came in the mail that I have yet to plant out. I'm just waiting for a little bit cooler weather. I have some new persimmons. I have both Asian and North American persimmons. There are also some more pineapple guavas, also known as feijoas. I also have a couple of pawpaws in here. So when the weather gets a little bit cooler, those will get planted out in the garden. Behind here, I have a bunch of perennials that I planted, mostly herb varieties, because those will get put into a new garden section just for the pollinators as well as they look pretty.
And this flower is a borage, and they taste like cucumber. And this is one of my little cactuses. I grew it from seed because I really wanted cactuses, and now they've grown a lot of them. I remember when it was like that big and I only had 2 things on them. And this is a grapefruit tree in full blossom. And it smells amazing. This is a maple orange tree.
So this orange tree is going to be blooming pretty soon. I've had it, it's actually one of my first citrus trees that I ever bought. It used to be a lot taller, and last year we had a big windstorm and the tree fell over and completely got decapitated. So the whole top half is gone, but it used to sit about 7 feet tall in full bloom. So he's recovering this year, but if you look right here, you can see a few new blossoms. So I'm hoping to have some fruit set. So down here, I have a whole bunch more perennials, mostly herb perennials that will be planted in the new garden section where I'm going to put in the pond. So here is a bell pepper. I think this one is called a Big Bertha, but it grew squished in the stalk, so instead of growing nice and long, it kind of got a little short and fat. This is a box greenhouse. It didn't come with a lot of the reinforcements, so we built the reinforcements just because it gets pretty windy here. The irrigation system, we used old recycled galvanized pipes, and the metal supports that we use to trellis a lot of the plants are also recycled. We just bent galvanized pipe. The raised beds, we ended up using their mostly dunnage that we got free from the woodlots, and we ended up using leftover wood tongue and groove that my dad had from building his house. So the majority of the stuff in this greenhouse we have managed to reuse and recycle, so we were able to do it on a pretty cost-effective budget. No, I think they were pretty much all done, the mushrooms. I was hoping to pick a nice cluster of like oyster mushrooms or something, but I didn't have any. We don't have any mushrooms. Okay, and it stopped raining, so we can head outside. I don't think there's really anything else